É com muita honra, eu peço que vocês aplaudam bastante. Nós vamos iniciar o nosso evento com a abertura do nosso presidente, Rajesh. Rajesh, please join us.
So along with our team who flew from India, we are about 15 people who travel from India to Brazil to have this opportunity to meet all of you, right? Which is very, very important for us as a company. On behalf of ManageEngine, on behalf of all the partners that we have in Brazil, once again, welcome you all. So we have some people from leadership. So you all saw the pictures. Use this opportunity to come talk to us, right? So that is the very important reason we run events, to go meet customers directly. Any questions, any feedback, right? Any concerns that you have, please use the opportunity next 2 days. We'll all be here, happy to talk to you, right? So which is the reason we do this event for. And today, the first 30 minutes or the first session of day one, it's going to be a lot of thought-provoking presentations, right? So we'll all be talking about our insights, our perspective about what we see in the market, right? So what are your problems? Why are you here, right? Trying to learn about ManageEngine. Why are you here trying to learn about how you can solve your problems? We will give you some perspective. I'll give my perspective. We have industry experts. We have an analyst from Forrester. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn. And also, you are just not listening. Please ask us questions. Please have the conversation going on even after the sessions are over, right? So to start the day, I'll quickly talk about, right? So what we think. When I say we as ManageEngine, how do we see the market panning out, right? So companies across the world, how work getting done inside the companies, inside businesses, inside big, small, medium-sized organizations, how are they changing? Because of how the possibilities of technologies that we have today. I'll give you my perspective of what we see from ManageEngine and what we are trying to do, right? In terms of providing solutions that will help you navigate all these technology challenges, right? So we are seeing a profound change happening at a very fast clip in the technology landscape, right? So talk about AI, machine learning, and all of that. We'll get to that. So we will offer our insights of what it is to navigate and what we are doing, how we are thinking as a company to build our products and solutions, right? So to talk about the future of work in our workplaces, we'll have to just understand some first principles, which is what is work in itself, right? So why do we do work? What is the motivation, right? Because as humans, we have been working from whenever we know, right? So because we had various motivations. To start with is just to put food on table. But today as we speak, our personal requirements, our requirements for our family, for our society, right? As organizations, as nations, things are changing. These are the motivation for us to do a lot of work. So we don't do any mundane rote work. We are starting to do a lot more creative and complex work, right? So that is where we are today. So to even talk about the changes that are happening, I asked this question because there are two contexts under which we do our work, one for our personal needs and one for our professional needs, right? So you could be a business owner, you could be working for a company, but the work you formally do at your workplace is very, very different. To get you all participate in this conversation, how many of you in this room use Bard AI or ChatGPT for your personal use? How many of you have accounts and you have started using? Well, yes, I give this 5-10 seconds gap for translation. I see more than 70% of hands go at least. Now, the same people, how many of you use the enterprise accounts of OpenAI or ChatGPT or Bard in your workplace, in your offices, in your organizations? How many of you use already? Use like 10, 15 hands as opposed to more than 50%. So this is the difference that we need to understand, right? So we as a company at ManageEngine, we use GPT-4 inside, right? So we use BARD, we integrate. But this is something we need to understand. So technology comes and goes at a very, very fast clip. We are all like okay to adopt technology in our personal lives very, very easily. But when it comes to business, how you adopt technology, you need a lot of caution. You need a lot of plan, strategy, right? So this is something, for me, it's first principle, right? We need to understand. So we have been talking about work and go back like last 5 years, a lot of things happened, right? So we always had technology evolving, but we also had situations like the pandemic happening, right? These are things that bring profound impact to how we do businesses, how we do our work, right? So all of that. It's a very interesting site called data.ai. I encourage all of you to go check it out. They have good survey. This is a survey from 2022. So this came out in January, February this year. Talks about how, right, as consumers, our technology consumption patterns are changing. So how many billions spent on a personal capacity, how many trillion hours spent, billions of app downloads that happen. Talking about trend, this is also the same survey across the world. So on one side, we look at the consumption of technology for personal use is skyrocketing, growing exponentially. On the other side, we have another trend where 97% of people working in businesses, they want to work in the hybrid model. You no longer expect people to work only out of the office. This is from the employee point of view. From the business's point of view, even they are okay, right? So 70% of the businesses surveyed, they are happy with letting people working employees in a hybrid manner. So all of this, I'm talking about to give you the changes that we are all seeing, right? So what are the changes that we perceive? What is happening with all of this, right? So that the technology options that you have because of what happened during the pandemic. So inside the organizations, the organization hierarchy is completely being broken down. Say, for example, something like innovation. It used to be typically top-down, and we are now starting to see it is completely, there is no top-down approach. Anyone having an idea, so is able to contribute because technology makes them more and more empowered. It is not just bringing the organization hierarchy, we are also talking about organizational boundaries, right? So we used to have rigid boundaries between departments because of how we used to communicate, right? So to even schedule a meeting before used to be a lot of effort. Now you have access to real-time collaboration tools, right? So organizational boundaries inside are also getting broken. We are also talking about the geographies, right? Completely disappearing. Because we, Zoho, at ManageEngine, we have 14,000 employees. We all used to work from a single building for a long time, or maximum 2 buildings. But now we lost count because people work from wherever they are. But remember, just because someone is working remotely, you cannot compromise on security, right? So the point is, geography doesn't matter anymore, right? So these are all the patterns that we see. And then the mode of working. So to give you an example, some time ago, 5-10 years ago, typically when it comes to knowledge in an organization, go to a marketing team or go to a sales team. This happens even at ManageEngine. Any question about our business in Latin America, we'll have to go to a person like Subin, right? So he heads our business. This is not good. You cannot rely on one person's knowledge because when you're doing most of your work manually, recording everything manually, all the knowledge is one person. But when you move to the digital model, you can build what is called as organizational knowledge. Because anything that you do is digital. It is all recorded. It's all in your database. So this becomes your organizational knowledge. So the point I'm trying to make is because of how we have changed our working style, because of all the availability of technology, we see all these profound changes happening in the way companies starting to work. It actually increases their aspirations. So you no longer can be the business that is happy with small growth. You want to grow your customers exponentially. You want to get into new business areas. You want to adopt new technology. All of this is possible. So what it means is the expectations on the business, the expectations of the employees inside the business is changing a lot. You are no longer required to do the same things over and over. Your ability to create or to do complex and creative work is going up all the time, right? So that is what organizations expect out of you. And also, we talked about the pandemic, right? So it was a big struggle for a couple of years for a lot of us across the world. But one thing, if you also noticed, resilience as a business trait stood out in those 2 years, right? So it did not matter what kind of business you were, but your ability to be resilient was really felt then, right? So and a lot of companies who did technology right, who had the right processes, it's right culture, not just the tools and technology, companies that had everything in place, the right process, the right culture, right automation, right tools, they had resilient inherently built in, right? So this is also becoming a very important factor for businesses to build and show, demonstrate differentiation. We talked about the need to do complex and creative tasks. So in addition to that, another expectation from all of you working in technology, owning technology is how much resilience can you bring inherently into your organization, right? So, which means, what does that mean? We no longer have any option. The businesses across the world, we all have to be fully digital, right? So you no longer have to have any prefix, right? So that is going to be the default model of working for all businesses. It could be a single person business, it could be a big conglomerate, it could be a government agency, but the model we are going is every business has to be a complete digital business. And what it means to people like you in this room, right? So you are people who own, deploy, and operate technology in your organization. So you are in a pivotal seat, right? So that is changing, and that is what we see, we perceive as a technology vendor, a tool vendor, right? So we are supplying solutions for you, right? Our understanding, we must be in sync with respect to the changes that are happening and how we should build solutions that would help you, because you are now in a position to bring about all those changes. How do you make your company 100% digital, right? So that is a responsibility on your shoulder, and which is what ManageEngine will help you achieve as well. Because you are going to not just run technology. You are not going to just run desktop services. You are not going to run some server monitoring services. You are going to think about how can you make your company meet their business goals, right? So how can you increase your customer percentage? How can you deliver on your revenue objectives? How can you deliver on your employee experience mandates? How can you deliver on your user expectations? These are things you will start to worry about more and more. You will be responsible for all of this more and more, right? Because when I say responsibility, it comes with a lot of challenges. There are a few points, right? So this, you may talk to me later. You could argue or you could discuss about these points. One of the trends that we see is, we used to have some few years ago, there'll be a corporate IT or enterprise-wide IT, centralized IT, that used to be the norm typically. Now what is happening is every business function, every function inside your organization, inside the business, have their own IT. Because remember, each one of us, every individual today, we are all technology savvy. We use technology in our personal lives. We just carry the same in our official lives, right? So what is happening is, inside your HR function, inside your marketing function, sales function, legal function, all of this, you need to have your own IT teams, right? Because their challenges, their mode of working is all changing. They cannot be reliant on one central IT anymore. So enterprise IT is fast becoming enterprise-wide IT. And then talking about things like service delivery. How do you deliver your technology services to your employees? This is now must be completely be reimagined, and this must be built for remote first employees. These are some of the challenges that I am talking about. And then comes, how do you keep pace? We talked about OpenAI, we talk about BART, right? So this is also becoming a business mandate, because business owners, stakeholders come and tell you, how can we leverage AI? That is how they can think. But bringing about leveraging all those technology is again a responsibility that falls on you. How can you do that? When all this is happening, how do you keep yourself updated with your skills? How do you find new talent? How do you retain talent? This is also a lot of challenge, right? Which is why people here, especially in leadership positions, so don't be thinking about IT as it used to be. Don't think about desktop services. Don't think about IT service delivery. Don't think about network monitoring, right? That thinking is still okay, but because of all the factors that we talked about, how every business is becoming a digital business, how you need to be building resilience inherently, how your employees are doing more and more complex and creative work, how your workforce is completely going hybrid with all the challenges that we are also talking about, you need to have a new line of thinking of how you envision your technology operations, which is what we propose here, right? So this is the thinking the market, the industry is thinking about. You are no longer thinking help desk services. You are no longer thinking desktop support services, right? So this is how you need to think about your digital enterprise. You are no longer thinking about supporting only your employees. You are no longer thinking supporting your remote users. This is very fragmented thinking. The thinking ought to be anybody, right? Any person that is participating in your business becomes part of your workforce. It could be a full-time employee, could be a contractor, could be a partner, right? Could be a temporary gig worker. All of them, they have access to your technology infrastructure. They have access to your applications, to information. You cannot have different rigid policies for these people, right? So you need to think about anybody participating in your business as part of your workforce, and whichever place people in your workforce are contributing anything to your business, that becomes the workplace. It is no longer that one building, one office building. If they are working from their home, coffee shop, wherever they work from, becomes part of your workplace, and it becomes your mandate to secure and keep that infrastructure optimum, right? So workforce is anybody participating in your business. Workplace is any place from where your workforce is working. And finally, when we talk about technology, you are talking about devices. You are talking about applications. Today, your browser is your own operating system. Every tab, right, has a lot of information. It has policies, how it can share information, how it can process information, right? So when you talk about your technology infrastructure, you have a lot of hardware components, a lot of applications, virtual machines, browser tabs, kiosks, and all of that. Again, you are not looking at any fragmented model. Any technology component that is part of your business becomes your workload, your technology workload. So this is a useful way of looking at your own digital enterprise, right? So this is what at ManageEngine we are changing ourselves into, right? So when you have your digital enterprise represented as these 3 W's, how can ManageEngine help you? ManageEngine, we were thinking about these problems. When we got founded in 2002, we just had a couple of products. 10 years after, 2012, we had a dozen products that integrated with each other. But 2023, we are talking about a completely different scenario. The technology landscape is different. Your challenges are different. Your working models are different. So at ManageEngine, we see ourselves as one single platform, right? One platform which will help you manage all of your 3 W's that I talked about. This is, I'll skip this and give you this. Yes, I'll give you this. Sorry. I'll give you this. Yeah. At ManageEngine, we have products and tools for your IT service management, endpoint management, your operations management. security, right? So security, information, and event management. Those things would still be there, still be around with all the functionality. But to be able to deliver all of that to you, it will be all packaged in one platform, right? If you are a digital business wanting to manage your complete set of workforce from wherever they are working, the complete workplace that includes wherever your workforce is working from, and all the little technology components. It could be complex servers, your application forms, your complete database infrastructure, data center environments, completely in the hybrid model. You are talking about hyperscalers and all of that. All of those, how can they become part of your workloads, right? This is how we are thinking in ManageEngine, right? So you have one platform, one flexible platform. You start with the ITSM system, IT service management system. You seamlessly bring in endpoint management. You seamlessly bring in IT operations management. You easily bring in security, information, and event management. So today, you're all moving from, maybe you're already moved to Azure AD, or I should call Entra ID, right? So you're all making the switch to the cloud. How can we make management of that infrastructure easy for you, right? That is how we are thinking about in ManageEngine. So this platform will again manage the 3 Ws across your on-premises infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, and also hybrid, your software as service applications, your Entra ID, right? So if you are using Salesforce for your CRM, right? How do you manage IAM for all of this? How do you manage privileged access to all of this, right? So if you have 10,000 people spread across Latin America, how do you do endpoint management, right? So this is how we are thinking in ManageEngine. To give you an idea about the complexity we are talking about, onboarding an employee into the organization used to be a simple process because most employees onboarded into the physical office premises. But today, in 2023, this is a simplified version. We are looking at least 3 scenarios when you onboard employees. The employee could be full-time resident in the office. The employee could be full-time remote employee. Or the employee could be doing hybrid. For each of these models, the workflow that you have to do to onboard employees is completely changing, right? So this is what I talk about when you need to do complex and creative work, right? So this is what at ManageEngine will help you do. How do you manage your digital workforce, right? So this is a simple workflow. When we all travel, 15 of us traveled, we raise a travel request. So many things have to happen, right? So parallelly, like tickets have to be booked, hotel has to be booked. The IT has to ensure our devices are encrypted, right? So we are all vaccinated. Today, when 5,000 people travel every month in Zoho, these are things completely automated, 100% automated, which is what you are also wanting to do. This is what we will help at ManageEngine, right? So the platform that I talk about, one single platform, will help you, your users, have complete technology self-service. I'll take 2 more minutes, right? So devices and channels. How do you build enterprise-wide IT business workflows? And we have created this one single touch workflow platform, orchestration platform, through which you will be able to build workflows like what I talked about. That is for your digital workforce. And what about digital workplace? I talk about any place from where your workforce is working becomes your workplace, right? It's like a lot of W's, but you cannot tell your employees only when you work inside the office, you will have 100% privileges. You will have access to all the information. There are companies having policies today. If they are working outside their office, a lot of entitlements will not be there, right? So your access to applications, which is good, which is a good security practice, but it is not very productive. What you really need is people working from anywhere. You still have to give them the same protection, the same security as they would when they work from inside their office, which is also something we are working on and delivering in ManageEngine, right? So, which is what we call as adaptive user experience with intelligence at the edge, right? So, we are building AI capabilities in the endpoints, right? So, it could be your tablet or mobile device or your any endpoint devices. We have the intelligence today to the goal that we have set ourselves. Within 30 seconds, we should be able to detect any attack. It could be a virus, it could be a ransomware attack, malware attack. Without the users knowing, would you have the intelligence to immediately know, identify the attack, and also prevent the attack from happening, right? So we are building like one single ManageEngine endpoint at all, agent that will sit in all the endpoints that would be able to deliver this for you, right? So talking about digital workloads, right? Because when I talk about all the technology component becoming part of your workloads, you need a holistic monitoring system. You no longer can have a separate system to monitor networks, separate system to monitor applications. We are talking about, again, one platform that will gather telemetry data from all the devices holistically, right? So devices, applications, users, all you need is one console with intelligence. You are not creating policies for managing or monitoring, right? So how can you just have one platform, one console with full correlation, right? So this is how you manage your complete technology workloads, or what we call as the digital enterprise platform managing all your workloads. To summarize all this, right, at ManageEngine, we have completely changed our thinking. We are not thinking about delivering tools anymore. We are thinking about delivering these things for you, our customers. How can we give you the ability for you to deliver great employee experience for your employees, right? So that is how you should be thinking. How can you deliver a very resilient remote work experience for your employees? This is the mandate we have set ourselves. This is what we will deliver for you. And how can you orchestrate end-to-end workflows, right? So this is how we are thinking. How can we make artificial intelligence an underpinning for your digital enterprise, right? So this is a conversation. Anybody having any question, feel free to approach me. I'll explain what is ManageEngine's plan going forward, because we are doing a lot of AI work inside ManageEngine. We also leverage Bard, we also leverage OpenAI. But the point here is, we are thinking about how can we make AI an underpinning for your challenges. We also have built a no-code, low-code extensibility platform inside ManageEngine, right? If you want to program new functionality, customize existing functionality of ManageEngine, you could do that very easily now. And the last point, we also will support multiple deployment models. We as a company will continue to invest in building our products in both the on-premises and the cloud models, right? We are one of the very few companies that would continue to invest in both the models, right? And the products would work together seamlessly regardless of the delivery model. You could have some products from ManageEngine in the on-premises model, some on the cloud. They will seamlessly talk to each other, work with each other. So this is how we at ManageEngine are thinking. This used to be the thinking. This is the set of tools that ManageEngine we still deliver, but the thinking is completely changing now. We are all becoming digital enterprises. You all need one single platform to manage your complete digital enterprise. And the 3W model would really, really help you. And that is how we at ManageEngine are also thinking. Our evolution going forward will be this model. All the capabilities of ManageEngine delivered as one single platform. And this is what you will learn during the next 1.5 days. And any more questions, any more feedback, we'll be very, very happy to engage with you all. For now, I took a little bit more time. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for your time, and cheers. Obrigado. Thank you.